Welcome to all of you in another lecture on the survey methods. In this lecture, remaining things we are going to discuss, uh, especially if we talk about the type of the research methods. The survey can be classified according to their time frame. If we talk regarding the time frame point of view, then the cross-sectional studies are where the data is collected from the respondent at a single point in the time. In the cross-sectional data, in the cross-section studies, the data is being collected from the respondent at one point in time. Now, for example, once for one time only. And on the other side, another part is a longitudinal study. In this way, data is collected from the group of the respondent over time interval. So in longitudinal study, you are going to collect the data from the same respondent from time to time. For the total span, duration of your research is the 3 years. In the 3 years, you may be required to collect the data several times from the same respondent is called a longitudinal study. So now two types of studies are there: cross-sectional, once at a point of time, and in the longitudinal study, you are going to collect the data from same respondent at a different point, at a different times during your research survey. For example, the survey of research is consistent 3 years or 1 year. During that time, you may be required to collect the data from the same people again and again. Okay, if we combine these two ones, cross-sectional studies and longitudinal studies, it becomes the panel data. So if you combine these two, it becomes the panel study. If data is collected from the sample of individuals, longitudinal study is called the panel study or the panel study. So in this one, basically, if you are going to collect the data, it is different point of time, but from the same respondent, it is called the panel data. And then interviews. Now the interviews is another tool through which you can collect the data. Different tools are like like the questionnaire. In the same way, you can also collect the data through the personal interview. So now, in the personal interview is basically is a form of the direct communication in which the interviewer asks the respondent in the face-to-face conversation. Now you see the different type of the shows are being run by the TV channels, and they are showing different interviews between the interviewer and the interviewee. Sometimes they are live and sometimes they are recorded. Like the example I'm giving, the Jarga. In the Jarga, the anchor person Salim Safi, he's going to conduct the interview from the different people. It is called a personal interview. Personal interview, it can be taken at the different locations, like the door-to-door interviews. Now here you can go the people at their home and conduct their interview at the different homes. Like some interviews, they may come to your office and they can give you some interviews. Sometimes in the TV channels, you are finding that the interviewees, they are coming in their studio, or sometimes the interviewers are anchor person. They are going to conduct the interviews of the people at their home. Another is about shopping mall and the supermarket. This is another good place where the hundreds of the customers, respondents are available there, and you can conduct the interview. Like it is called a mall intercept interviews. In the shopping mall, where you are interning over there, you are finding different people are there. You may intercept one person and ask him, okay, you would like to give me the interview for the 5 minutes. If that person shows his or her, that means if he's become agree with you, then you can conduct his interview. And then another is high traffic areas. In the high traffic areas, like on the big roads, like the Sharai Faisal in the Karachi, in different big mall road in the Lahore, if you stand over there, the people are going over there, and you can replace the people for a few minutes to conduct their interview. So these are the three types of the interview. In this one, we were discussing about, there was some interruption because of the connectivity of the internet. Okay, so now there are the three interview, door-to-door interview, and the mall intercept interviews in the high traffic area. So these are the some of the
जी हमें
places from where you can conduct your interview. In this one, if you talk about the advantages of this type of the interviews, then there are some advantages are there, like the low cost. Now if you are studying in the mall, in the supermarket, in the shopping mall, people are coming over there, and you can conduct your interview, and very limited amount is you can spend on this interview, as well as limited time you can spend, because quickly the people are available to you, and then you can conduct their interview without any problem. So that means that from the means the cost point of view, that means lower cost, as well as the number of the people are available. From time point of view and from the money point of view, both are from these both point of view. These interviews are very cheap, but you know the every has now this has also some problems. Now the problem with this interview is a high refusal rate, and because most people they are coming in the shopping mall to shop for shopping purpose, and probably they may have a limited time, like in a high traffic areas, people are over there just to wait. Whenever they feel they now there is no traffic, then they just go, they try to go away from you. And during now the problem is there's a high rate. Most of the people, they will refuse to you. Sorry, I'm busy, I cannot go, I cannot give you the interview because I'm much busy. So now this problem may occur over there. And because this happens because of the time limitation, because the people have very limited time, so that's why they may avoid to provide you some interviews over there. This is the one reason. Okay, and then personal interviews has a number of advantages and a number of disadvantages. Let's discuss these advantages and disadvantages. Now, it is a good opportunity. These are advantages. Like, it is a good opportunity to conduct to get the feedback, because interviewer can provide direct feedback to respondent, gives clarification and help uh, elevate misconception, because both are each to each other, and the different questions may be asked from the interview to interview. And now it's very easy because communication is direct, communication is clear, and there is no any type of the hurdle between the interviewer and the interviewee. So that's why the most of the concept can be clear over there. There will be most of the time there will be no any issue, because both are near to each other, and they can ask the question at the same time. Uh, Probing complex answer. In the interview, you can probe the people. Interviewer can probe if the respondent answer is too brief or unclear. If the answer of your interviewer is very unclear or very brief, so now you can ask more questions. So here in this one, the unstructured interview is very much useful, because here you can ask the different questions from your interview in order to probe. For example, if you want to ask from him about the satisfaction of the product which is using, then you can ask a different question: why you are using this product, what is the benefit of this product, and since how many days or months you are using this product, why you not other products. So different questions you can ask from your respondent, and you can probe him. You can investigate regarding the different methods, regarding your product, regarding the services of your organization, from the your interview. A length of from length of interview point of view, then it may that means that the time may be for the 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour. Now it is the between the agreement. It depends upon the agreement between the interview and interview. But at least you have the sufficient time in the personal interview, then you can get more and more information from your respondent regarding the in your interview. Okay, the complete questionnaire, you can ask all the questions which are in your which are written or which are in your mind, which you want to ask from the interview. But it's not possible in the telephonic interview, because this happens that if you ask some question and after that, after certain time, the call may be disconnected by your interview because of any reason. And the same problem is also in the mail interview or in the email interview. Email question or the mail question. Sometimes the people, even they're receiving their questionnaire, but they are not ready to answer it. And then the propose and the visual aids. In the interview, you can show your sample of your product. You can show you that, okay, this is a sample of my product. You can use it, you can check it, and then you can buy it. If you become agree, then you'll buy. So this thing cannot be happen in the mail questionnaire or the telephone interviewer. So now in this one, the product, your graph, sketches, images, different videos, different type of things you can show to your interview during this type of the interview. And the participation normally remains very high because before coming to conduct the interview, you are getting the willingness, will of your respondent. If your interview is willingful, then you can reach from this point of view, the response rate remains very high in the personal interview. And definitely it has certain costs are also there, disadvantages are also there. The major disadvantage is a cost. In conducting interview is a costly, sometimes it's much costly. For example, respondent geographic proximity. Now the respondent may live in another city, you are living in. Now, for example, you are living in the circle and your respondent, they are living in the Karachi. So now in order to take his interview, then you may be required to go over there to conduct the interview. And then the length and complexity of the questionnaire. Sometimes your questionnaire, your questions are too lengthy. So within the time duration, for example, if the total duration of your interview is 1 hour, so sometimes it's not possible to ask all the questions within the 1 hour. So it is also a problem. And the number of the non-respondents. Sometimes the interviewee said, okay, I will give you the interview at that time, but at that time, because of any emergency, because of any problem, the interviewer is not available to you. This is also a problem. Lack of anonymity. Now, in what happened in the different cultures, the people want to say that, okay, our identification should not be shown. We want to remain anonymous. So now in the interview, now there is lack of anonymity because the both interviewer and interviewee know each other. Like in case of the mail questionnaire, in case of the email questionnaire, the question we are sending through the email. Now in this one, there is no any lack of anonymity. Now the interviewer, like the surveyor and the respondent, both do most of cases they may not know to each other. So there is no any problem of the identification. But here in the interview, there is no any anonymity. Both know to each other. So some of the questions in the face-to-face interview, the interviewee may be reluctant to answer because these questions may disclose his or her information. So some of the questions are there which are related with the security of the country, with the political personalities, or some of the questions are regarded with the religion. So now this may create some problem. For example, if when you are asking one question from your respondent, the respondent is okay to which that means like the thought school of thought you are belonging. That means like you are to which sect you are belonging, religious sect. So now some people they do not want to disclose this information. This may be a problem over there. A necessary callbacks. Now sometimes, for example, to conduct the interview, you may be required to call the same person more than thrice, several times to provide the time. So now, if you are calling him several times, so this call also costs you some amount. So now these are the some disadvantages. And then another thing is about the personal interview. Okay, various effect, demographic characteristics are also there. For example, if the female is going to conduct the interview of a certain male members in our society, the male become very ready to answer. But if the male is going to conduct the interview from the female, the most of female they are reluctant to answer the questions of the male. So now from the demographic point of view, it is also a problem. For example, if the old person is to conduct the interview from the young people, now it is another problem is there. It's another demographic issue is there depending on the age, and then the dishonesty is there. Interview cheat to make their life easier and save time and effort. Now dishonesty may be there, and then personal styles are there. Every person has a different style. Now different interviewers, people are there, they take interviews on the TV channels. You are finding that they have their own styles. Different people have a different style. So now sometimes their styles are also affecting negatively on the interview. And then globally, if we talk about the interview, if its disadvantage with the culture influence. Culture has a much influence on the willingness of the people to participate in the interview. For example, in our South Asian culture means where the India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and one or two other countries, that culture discourages female from being questioned by the male interviewers. If you are sending the male people to answer to ask certain question regarding the female in our culture does not encourage this type of the interview. So this is another issue is there. So these are some of the disadvantages of the interview, and then other is another type of it's a telephonic interview. It is another type through the telephone you can also conduct the interview, and then the telephone interview has been used for the decades. In some cases has advantages over the method of the undertaking survey. For example, some surveys are there in the remote areas. Your location is in Karachi, but sometimes you want to conduct the interviews from the people who are in the northern area. So sometimes it's very difficult to travel to these areas. So so instead of conducting the direct interview, face-to-face interview, it is better to go to make a call, and through the telephone you can conduct the interview. Nowadays, because of the advancement in the IT field, now the computer can assist you. Computer can help you a lot. While when you're going to conduct the interview, you can ask, you can inform your respondent, okay, it is a recorded call. Your call is being recorded. For example, several times we are receiving call from the call centers. When they call, they are informing us to, sir, your call is being recorded by us. So now, in this way, your computer can help you, and computer can record that whole your call, and computer can directly insert the data into your software. In this way, the interviewer can save the time, effort, and cost. Advantages, though these are so speedy, that means within 1 or 2 hours, then you can cover the maximum number of the people, because just you are required to call from the another area. Okay, okay, and then the cost very cheap if you compare it with the interview. Nowadays, I think the mobile phones are very much cheap. Within the 6 or 700, you can buy a package, and they means where you have the more than 5,000 minutes in Pakistan. So from this one, that from cost point of view, this is very cheap, and there is no need to have a face-to-face interview. There is no need to have a travel over there. So because traveling is also a cost, then if you are required to go in another area, traveling cost, lodging and boarding costs is also there. So through this type of the interview, you can save all these costs. And sometimes, like because of the sometimes the people, they want to ensure their anonymity. So now in the through the call, so this can be ensured. Now sometimes the interviewer and through the call and interview, they do not know each other, but just they make a random call, and they got a one person, and he asked certain questions from him. For example, I'm giving you one example of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. It's a very big organization in working in the it's collecting the data regarding the status of the entrepreneurship in more than the I think the 150 more than 100 countries, and they are going to conduct the interview with the help of the telephone, and then they are converting the data, and then they have provided the data for the free of the cost used to the general public. Okay, and the GEM also collected the data for the few years from the Pakistan entrepreneurs to this data through the telephone. So from this point of view, it's very, because it's very cheap. And then the cooperation, the visa people may be reluctant to allow interviewers into their home now because of the security. Now, to some people they say, okay, do not come with my home. Okay, just make me a call. I will give you I will give you to the interview. And because of the time limitation, because the people have less time, like in the I gave example about the more intercept interviews. In that way, some people say, okay, sir, I'm busy right now. This is my number. And after 2 days at this time, you may make a call to me and I will provide you my response to you. This is also possible. And the call breaks, telephone call breaks are easier to perform than personal interview. And then disadvantages are also there. The disadvantage is that no face-to-face contact. Both are not near to each other. Both they do not know to each other. So this problem may occur over there. So the best tool right now is like instead of if you have the instead of conducting telephonic interview, you can go for the Skype. It's a free tool through the Skype or through this Zoom, the software which you are using right now. Google Meet, several free tools are also available where you conduct the interview. And the cooperation, sometimes the interviewers, interviewees, the respondents, sometimes respondents, they are cooperating with you or sometimes they are not cooperating with you because of certain reasons. Sometimes they have any problem, sometimes they have to travel to another area, sometimes they are suffering from the disease. Any problem may occur. Sometimes there is a cooperation or sometimes there may not be any cooperation. Like visual mediums, you cannot show anything to your respondent, while whatever you can show in case of the face-to-face interview, the time is always limited because no one can afford the long discussion on the telephone. And too long interviews may not be liked by the several people. And long answers of the long question may be refused by the respondent. Representative sample. Now, for example, what's happened in the telephonic interview, most of the time we are using telephonic directory. We are using the telephone directory. Now, telephone directory we are putting before us, and then randomly we are choosing the number and we are calling. So now from this randomness, randomly if you are selecting the numbers to whom you are going to call, sometimes the problem may occur that those people are not falling in your sample. Some people may that means your sample may not represent it properly. So the misrepresentation of sample may occur from this type of the telephonic interview, because when you are going to depend on the telephonic directory or the directory which nowadays people are using the mobile phones, the number which are saved in your mobile phone. So now randomly you are selecting all those ones. Some people are falling your sample size, some people they are not falling in your sample. Global constitution, in many countries people are reluctant to provide the information over the telephone. Now, self-administrative interviews, these are self-administered questionnaires are in that one self-administered printed questionnaire, mail, in-person drop-off, that you can reach a person himself and you can provide your questionnaire and request him, okay, sir, please fill it, and after a certain time, I will again contact you to correct my. Or you can send your question with the help of the mail, through the electronic mail or through the post office. Okay, through the only post office, through the any courier services. Now, because these are the printed questionnaire, and you can insert in the somewhere else, and you can also fix these one to the people know. And then electronic questions are also there through the email you can provide, through the internet website, and through the internet kiosks. Kiosks are this small type of the booths are there where you can stand over and where you can provide send these people through the electronic. Okay, nowadays that means that you are several people they are sending their question, electronic question with the help of the Google Docs. Google Docs is also a free tool through which you can send your electronic questionnaire to the people, and the people they can fill it, and the response will be given to you. Otherwise, certain paid versions are also there, like the Monkey Survey is a one type of the online survey company which charges from you. If you compare the facilities which are being provided to you, the monthly survey, and the facilities which are being provided to you by the Google Docs, the paid version is much more beneficial than the free version, because in the paid version, different other facilities are there. For example, now if you have sent out your question to the 100 people, and whenever the respondent they will fill, automatically that question will be stored in your database, and their age, all the demographic information will be developed by that monkey service software itself, and the same result will be shown to you through the chart, through the graph, and through the table. But this type of facility is not available in the Google Meet. And then in the last but not the least, so I would like to invite your attention to all these type of the like the uh, maybe the terms, because these we have used several times in our this chapter. So I request you and that please go through all these one and read and try to get your concept clear regarding all these one. And then I hope that you have the full command over this chapter, because all these concepts have been our terms have been used frequently in this chapter. I'm thankful to you all of you that you have given your extra time to me, and inshallah tomorrow again we will meet probably at 12 a.m. and 12 tomorrow there will be the last class, and the remaining class will be conducted after the Eid ul Adha. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.